So let's go to the project. So maybe I see Chemelong seems to be ready. Chemelong, you want to start, Chemelong? Mia? Yeah.
Yes, we can.
Yeah, okay. So I will share your strategic canvas. It's Chemelong Energy, this one?
No, at the bottom there should be one that's just Timologong.
Okay, this one.
Yeah. Okay, so the Timologong team, even though we are entrepreneurs in various fields such as energy management, waste management, biotech and big data, fintech, water, because we are such a varied group. For today, we focused on one of the perimeters actually that none of us are in, just to get going and to understand the platform, and then from there we can split into energy or education. Or so today we looked at commuters, mobility, our industry perimeter mobility. The current customers of the industry being commuters, from quite a robust conversation on the key elements that we consider most important to commuters. We decided then on price, travel time, and I think maybe you could just open up the descriptor in each. Thanks, Alba. Price, travel time. We had to actually go do the descriptors because we found ourselves nitpicking on, but what do we really mean by the difference between accessibility and reliability? So travel time, what we mean, speed of the commute. Accessibility, how easy is it to find one? Does it run throughout the day and night? Low barriers to use. Comfort of the experience. We spoke about the seat, the environment in the vehicle, as well as just the whole experience of commuting. Reliability. Under that, what we mean is predictability and punctuality, safety during the commute, while in the vehicle, and also while waiting for the vehicle in transit or waiting, such as at a bus stop or waiting for an Uber, for instance. The service offerings that we identified is an Uber or e-hail service, which might be Uber or Bolt or one of the others. Private vehicle taxis. What we mean here is minibus taxis. The what we feel is the incumbent in the Gauteng region, probably South African market. But we decided also, because we were talking so wide, to focus on Gauteng. Then Ria Vaya being the inner city bus service, the Gautrain, and then the Metro bus, which is the Johannesburg bus service, which you also have obviously the Pretoria version or Tshwane version and others. Thanks. Our canvas became quite interesting and busy, and some feedback that we got from Jason as he came in to assist is that we could possibly look at some overlaps and where there's alignment to collapse the canvas somewhat. But we had a wonderful, again, very robust conversation about where we want to plot the price, travel time, accessibility, comfort, reliability, and safety of these different modes of transport, to see what we find out. Luckily, again, one of the mentors came in to remind us not to get too stuck on the nitty-gritties, because we are at this point, we haven't done field work or done user research. We're just going from our own observation and putting ourselves in the shoes of being the commuter, which we all are. And this is where we got to. So from our conclusions, you can then, kind of, if you go down to the conclusions, but also looking at the canvas, our visual awakening conclusions, or what came up for us as a team, is the following: income, the incumbents, core criteria, potential to differentiate, and geographic considerations. So just looking back at, thank you. So what we believe is core to plotting this and understanding the landscape. Choice of mobility mode is heavily influenced by commuters' income level, and income and cost are the main driver for those excluded from using transport solutions, any of those plotted above. We believe minibus taxis are the incumbent, or I wouldn't say the standard offering, but minibus taxis serve the greatest number of commuters in Gauteng by far. Core criteria, we believe that if you look at the canvas on reliability, that's all from medium to high. That's one area. There are some that's also quite close to one another, but reliability is easy to spot that is something that commuters are not willing to budge on or compromise on, because that, after all, is what you use transport for. You reliably need to get from somewhere to somewhere else. Thanks. If you can just go back down, Alba. Yes, so we believe reliability being the core criteria. Some thoughts that came up about the potential to differentiate is to not necessarily think up a whole new mode of transport, but to look at what works and then look at, is there maybe a single low value lever that can be improved or changed to push that lever back into an acceptable range. Other things that came up, find ways of offering the core value to those who are excluded or not served, and also maybe combine the most attractive features in new and unexpected ways. And we also realized that geographic considerations play a big role. The choice of transport mode definitely depends on where commuters live and need to travel to, because for some areas and some of us putting ourselves in the shoes of commuters or actually being commuters, there's just certain areas that do not get served by certain transport solutions. Therefore, you don't even have that option. And that's where we got to today. Thanks.
Okay. Some reactions from the other groups, or before we react here? Some
Please, and the rest of the team, jump in with any observations that you would like to make. It'll only be today that a coach speaks for the team. The entrepreneurs will take it from
normally, I agree. Next time it should be, the coach
an
has their
entrepreneur,
session.
for sure.
Sure.
No. Like I said, we'll cheat today just to get things going and
the starting session.
And then the entrepreneurs will get in there. They were definitely very much part of the conversation in making this happen.
And of course, if you need some models of already drawn curves, you have the access to the work done by the coaches last time on water, waste management, and also sun mobility on transportation. It's already made. Do we have some reactions, questions? I see applause from Natalie. Well done. Okay, it's nice. From Chimolong. Do we have some reaction from the other groups? You can open the micro, and it has to be interactive. Huh? You can launch the video, open the micro. Come Mogeleng, Mogeleng and Itumeleng, if you want to react. Mogeleng.
My environment is a bit loud. I don't know if you can hear me.
Okay, sure. Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay. I think it's well thought of. When Mia was presenting, I thought I'm definitely not gonna present. I liked the conclusion specifically that we sort of a lot of categories that were really good. So that's the part that I'm really taking away. So I think it's really good from my side. Thanks.
Itumeleng, you wanted to react to?
I just wanted to say that I think it looked amazing, and I liked how the team sort of walked through it, and it made sense to me. Yeah, great job, everyone.
Thank you. So yeah, maybe to give some tips for all the groups. Here you can see the group have chosen a lot of different offerings. So there are taxis, cars, train, bus, and Reaveya. What is Reaveya? Sorry, Mia.
It's also a bus service, but only
Bus,
inner
okay.
city.
Okay, yeah. So when you see, that's why you can select some offering. If you have all the curves, it's like pasta. It's a plate of pasta.
Spaghetti.
Yeah, so it's not really readable. One first tip to make it readable and very useful. First is to select one of these offerings. Maybe I don't know what maybe the most emblematic. What is the most maybe private vehicle or taxi? I don't know, or train. What will be the most emblematic for you in mobility? What is
Entrepreneurs, please jump in here.
Let's choose
I am
taxis.
going to be quiet.
Let's choose taxis.
Taxis? Okay, so we select taxis, and we will, you can play here with the order of and to make all of that more readable, you can choose one of the key offering you have here, and reorder all the key elements to have this curve, going from. So the price will always be at first, but then the price will be always at first. But then you can move the key elements to have a growing curve. You get my point? Just to make it grow. So after price, normally the lowest one will be safety. Then we have reliability. You see? No, sorry, reliability. Doesn't want. Of course, it work. Should work. No, it doesn't want. Okay, it doesn't want to move.
It does not want to.
Sorry?
It does not want to.
Yes. I will refresh. Sometimes refresh help. So it's taxis. So safety. Then comfort. Okay. Okay. Safety. Comfort. Okay. Here and safety. The second. No, okay, doesn't want. Okay, we need to report that. Okay, we need to, okay, we'll report that to the developers. So here you can also group and make appear each curves based on their, because here it's a very wide range of offerings. So here there are the cars. So we can see here only with cars, Uber, private vehicles, and taxis. It's mostly question of price, and it's quite related to the price. The most you pay, the more you have. You see, so taxi, then Uber, then private vehicle, and they have almost the same offering. Maybe this difference here, travel time. Taxis will be very lower, but that's all, and you will pay less. So you pay more to have travel time higher. That's for the car solution. That's okay. And if we have a look on the public transport, so bus, train, yeah, only public transport, we can see that it's quite the same. It's you pay more and you have more. It's quite the same offering, except on reliability. Reliability, you said it's predictability. So, so on the train, on the car group, it's the strategic group, the car strategic group. It will be here something about the travel time, because there is a big difference. So we can note that and maybe take it to be ready for the exploration to test that, to know more about that in the exploration. But the rest, it's what we call segmentation. It's typical from a red ocean segmented offering. When you have the same curve, but just translated with the price, the most you pay, the more you pay, the more you have. It's typically red ocean. It's there is no really eliminated or created new values. Yeah, for the cars and for the trains, we see quite the same. The more you pay, the more you have. Go train is the more expensive. It's quite same shape, but higher. Except on reliability. Reliability, it's a question mark. It's we need to know more about this point, because here we see that the premium offering at the top, the most expensive, it's premium, then it's the middle, then it's the low cost. But the premium here, it seems lower, very low on reliability. So there is a question. Maybe it has to be eliminated, like they decided here. So it's a question mark. So as a conclusion here, we can see that we have two main strategic groups in this industry. One is the public transport, one is more private transport with cars. And they are segmented. They are segmented offerings. The more you pay, the more you have, and they are quite the same offering, but just translated depending on the price. So it's typical red ocean. But we see some questions, so some maybe ideas or points to be clarified about reliability for the public transport and about this travel time. Yeah, because there's a big difference. But we don't have in all these offerings, there are no really created. So, created, it means the offering would be will be alone, would be the only offering to propose such element. So we don't have here created part. And we don't, and maybe, a question about travel time. Maybe it's eliminated for the taxis. It may be some eliminated. But if you don't see clearly eliminated and created elements, it means it's not really blue ocean. So here we see that it's mostly segmented offering. It's typical red ocean, and there are no blue ocean offerings because there are no created and no eliminated elements. Do you have questions about that? So this I share with you because it's mostly this kind of reflections and you can have in any analysis of strategic Canva. Maybe George and Jason, you want maybe to complete, to share some tips here?
No. It's an accurate first picture of, like I said, collapsing them into strategic groups or separating it into types of travel. But you need that once you have your scope, which you're not there yet. So that's all I have.
Yes, but they enjoyed the exercise. Everybody was arguing about a whole bunch of things, which is a very important part of the process.
Exactly.
Okay, thanks. Do you have other reactions from the other groups or comments? Okay, maybe another group want to share? Yeah. So who is ready to share? Maybe DUT and Nobis? DUT and Nobis, are you here?
Yes, thank you. I'll do that, Alvin.
Okay. Here it is. Interesting. So yeah, the floor is yours.
Okay, so we looked at waste management, and we battled to actually come to a way of, a point of departure, really, because there were so many different scenarios. So whether you're in an urban area or whether you're a rural area. And then eventually we decided, okay, instead of having 4 comparisons, we're going to just stick to having, looking at waste management in urban areas. And the waste management wasn't for the purpose of waste management. The purpose of the project here came out of what students were doing. So we had one of the students were doing jewelry, upcycling of jewelry, and the other student was doing clothing, and all of the clothing was made out of recycled fabrics. And so then we decided, okay, well, let's find a common recyclable product, and we focused on that particular product being plastic at the end of the day. And the initial discussions were that plastic isn't something that is readily traded on the market, for recycling. It's normally newspapers and cardboard and glass. So plastic was one of those areas that sort of like got left up to corporates. You need to do what you need to do with it. So we then came up with 3 with the various elements, and we
sorry for interrupt, Lana. We need to know, to be clear, but yeah, the perimeter and your current customers. I see it's empty here.
That perimeter is completely wrong. Jason and I were like oohing and eyeing how we're going to change it, but I didn't know how to amend it.
For the perimeter?
Yeah. So it must definitely be at waste management.
Waste management. You go here in the here. It's only Sibusio Moyo. It's only the creator of the group who can edit it. You have a button.
Okay, so it's actually
edit,
not right.
And here you can change the industry perimeter and the name.
We didn't have the so it'll change. Move on.
Yeah, it's only Sibusio Moyo can do. And about so waste management, it's your perimeter and current customers. Do you have some names of some profile of customers for this industry you have in mind?
Yes, so we looked at Mondi, and we looked at the municipality as being the main corporates, and then the other customers being the informal pickers that would pick up the waste.
They're customers of this.
Yeah, so we looked at really 2 elements. We looked at corporates versus informal.
No, it's product service. No.
Yes, so okay. We made it general at this stage. It'll break up into townships and suburbs. Here it's general Durban. So just put Durban and we can move on.
Municipality, Durban. Okay, so the municipality will be the client for your There is a customer, yeah. They will pay for that. That's what you mean. They will pay for this. Nanan,
Yes.
well, who are the customers of the industry? So you were doing waste management, and which were the customers of the industry perimeter you chose?
So I'm
Municipalities,
not sure if
mostly?
I'm clear on what you mean. So these entrepreneurs that are in this group, they are going to be buying the waste from the sector.
Yeah, but you know, it's very important. Yeah, it's very key point. Of course, there are some entrepreneurs who have already an idea, already started a project, and you have already an offering in your mind. So what you will do, you will use this strategic Canva to give an overview, to understand the overview of the competitive landscape in terms of value for this current offering. And you will, in all the process, here you will be able to challenge this idea, and you will see certainly there are better ideas, or you need to maybe to make it more blue ocean, this idea.
Yes, and I think that was the idea, yes, that we would just launch, and then as we go through, we refine.
There are steps. Here, the first step here with Visual Awakening is to be clear about the current idea you have and to compare it with competition in terms of value, not in terms of strategy. And here, so your current business, and it's the same question I had with the other groups I was helping. The first business you are mentioning here, it's how do you make money with this? It's in this project.
There is no business. There is no business. We're assessing the competitive landscape today before creating the business.
No, Lanan, tell me, it's about a group who has already a business, already a project.
The students in the business have got, the one girl is a fashion designer, and the other chap is a jewelry maker. So they are now wanting to look at how can they incorporate recycled materials into their product lines. So
you should have two groups. You cannot say, okay, one student is working on that.
So we came up with a common thing that both of them would be able to recycle. So the guy that's doing jewelry, he also sees that there's a great opportunity for him to recycle plastic. And the girlie that's doing fashion, she also wants to recycle plastic. So both of them, so we've almost broken down that both of them were at opposing ends of the pole, that they actually both want to recycle plastic things, because that is where there is a big gap in the market of that particular product being recycled. It's being recycled in terms of being recycled back into plastic, but it's not being recycled into other goods other than plastic. And that's what they are looking at.
So one is selling fashion, clothes, and the other one is
jewelry, but both of them will end up with those two.
It's very key. It's very important. I had this discussion with other groups. It's very key that to be clear on that.
So now we didn't look at the end product. We didn't look at the end product. We looked at the input, and we wanted to first discover, before we do that, is there sufficient input? Because it's no good them going to go and decide they're going to recycle the plastic, and we don't know how much plastic is available and how we're going to get that plastic. So what we did here was to first look at how and when is plastic available before plastic can become an opportunity for any of them.
Understand, but it has to be related to an industry. And so if it's waste management, for instance, it has to be related to an existing business. So you should be able here to name some services, offerings, or products who are already.
It's not waste management per se, because we don't want to waste manage. We want to recycle the waste.
Yeah, but it's not a business. A wish is not a business, and here it's all about business. So it's very important to start to have a perimeter related to a business, to an existing business. If it's just a wish, and of course it can be.
So now that we've got to the end of this, now the students can actually see how and when and how much and from whom this plastic is available. How much plastic is available, at what rates it's available, who's going to be, is it going to be better to get it from the corporate collector or from the informal collector? How reliable are they? So how convenient is it? So we looked at a whole lot of different things to see how much plastic could feed into any of the projects. So now that we've established the how much plastic is around and who's doing what in the plastic industry, now we know that there is an opportunity to pursue plastic recycling.
Okay, continue. You can present, yeah. So yeah, on your strategic canvas.
I'll convince you by the time we get to the end, okay? So we obviously had to start off with price, and we looked at if we had to buy this waste, you know, from these corporates or either from the pickers, how much would we have to pay for them? And from the pickers, we would be able to get a really, really, really low price because their overheads and their cost of collections are so much lower compared to the corporates. We also then looked at convenience. And we looked at convenience both from the side of the you know, for us collecting it as well as for the person collecting it. And we saw that it was very, very convenient to just go and get the waste from a corporate because they've got one place and they're always there. They've got brick and mortar. Every day you can find them at the same place at the same time. Whereas the convenience wasn't always there for the pickers because they're so mobile and so, you know, move around wherever there's waste. So you may not find them or even find the same pickers again. But we did find that if we were paying the pickers sufficient amount of money, they would really be quite reliable. And also in terms of collecting the waste, pickers were far more reliable than the corporates in collecting the waste. In terms of the environmental impact, we also thought that our support should really be in favor of the pickers because the pickers are the ones that are making more of an environmental impact and they're actually outweighing how much is being collected by the corporates. So in terms of volume as well, although they are much smaller scale and they don't have the machinery and the vehicles and that like the corporates do, they're actually collecting in excess of 30% of the waste compared to the corporates, which are in single digits. We also then looked at the efficiency of these two providers of plastic. And we found that in terms of efficiency, we could also, because efficiency went hand in hand with reliability, we could, you know, the waste pickers are more efficient because they're more adamant in getting the waste every day so that they could get paid every day, whereas corporates have a more, we've already got a job, we don't have to do anything more than what we have to do. And in terms of the corporate's job creation, we saw that their social impact and their social footprint is very low, whereas the pickers are probably collecting way more, creating more employment, and as such creating more social impact and more hygiene in the areas where they are picking up versus the corporates who are just there for the money at the end of the day and don't really have a, you know, too much concern about what their area where they live looks like, whereas the pickers can empathize more with that particular aspect.
Okay. Do we have some reactions or questions?
Thanks, Lorna. That was really interesting. I enjoyed actually listening along to your way of reasoning through this. Thanks. Super interesting to me.
Thank you.
So I think to go further on this, I think it's a good, it's an interesting way to use the canvas. It's not really a strategy canvas because strategy canvas, it's a view of what is the business now. And here it's not about business, it's about
They are
solution.
two businesses. They are two businesses. The job creation of informal pickers is a massive business. And they collect 30% more recycling than the municipality. So as far as job creation, as far as hygiene, as far as efficiency. So we're not just looking at the end product, we're looking at the entire ecosystem from the very beginning of getting the plastic all the way to the recycling of it, getting it to an end product. So we started with all types of recycling. And since two of the students had, they were focused on jewelry, if you begin at the very beginning, your scope is much wider, so you can do, the problem right now in South Africa, only 10% of plastic is being recycled. So therefore only 10% of the plastic is available for any type of creation. So once we begin here, then we can go into many other industries as well. So if you started narrowly on jewelry, then we're kind of stuck. That's why we took a wider view.
Sorry, but I'm very simple guy. The industry, it has to be clarified. So if
Yes.
with your answer here, and if I understand right, the industry would be plastic, the plastic suppliers or something like that.
It's plastic that's been used and thrown away.
But it's who will pay? Who will pay? They will pay to get plastic. Where is the money? That's very key. Where is the money here?
And there's a lot of money. Nike, for example, recycles plastic into high value.
It's recycling. Okay, so they pay to recycle.
Yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Several corporate companies. The green line, it's a formal waste collection. There's several companies. Because the municipality doesn't pick up the plastic, especially in the townships. There's several corporations that are attempting to create markets out of a formal waste collection process. People pay the taxes for that. That's where the money is.
It's a footprint. It's a footprint tax paid by big organization to get plastic back. They pay to have less. They have by the law they are obliged to pay
not by the law.
Taxes, or not by the law, just maybe for their image. But I think by the law in Europe, sometimes they need to prove that they have recycled as much plastic as they have put on the industry, on the market. Is what you mean? Is what this point? So it's plastic recovering, non-plastic. Yeah, it's the footprint. It's like a footprint market, like the carbon footprint. Is this what you have in mind?
Yeah, so now we know that there is sufficient plastic. So these different businesses within the DUT entrepreneurs, there is now a source that says you can continue with your business. So for us, this was to find out if there is enough input to actually even start thinking about creating a business, because we didn't see any logic in getting a business going. And then you turn around and like, guess what? You can't get the resource so easily anymore. And this actually came about with a project of collecting pieces of soap from the hotels and recycling the soap into toilet bowl cleaner. And all of a sudden, I mean, this was a nice, noble project. It was, triple bottom line, you name it, SDGs, it covered everything. It was just such a lovely story. And then all of a sudden, the supply ran dry. hotels were saying, well, we're rather going to give the soap to the orphanage, or we are not going to supply bars of soap anymore. We're changing to refillable liquid bottles, or we're just not doing soap anymore. So when we approached this, that's why we first went to the source and said, before we do any kind of recycling, we need to look at how much recycling and the sustainability of that recycled product. So that was the premise of how we took off with this idea.
Okay, so the industry is waste collecting, something like that. And
No, we're not collecting the waste. We are purchasing the waste from these waste collectors. And that's why we did a comparison of who's going to be the best person to buy from. Are we going to buy from the pickers, or are we going to buy from the corporates who've already possibly bought from the pickers?
Okay, but just for your understanding, strategy Canva, it's an understanding of one industry. That's all. It's not just to, if you made a comparison of suppliers, you want to select for your using, what you mean, for urban, or, but yeah, it's okay.
How should we have approached it?
Okay, so you are the customers, but to continue the evolution process, you will have for your entrepreneurs to select industries, and maybe using this understanding here and saying, okay, where we want to create a new business, and drawing this strategic Canva for the customers of this industry. So it's very important to be clear about the customers and okay, to draw for an industry very clearly. Yeah, I don't know. I'm a little lost. Sorry, I don't understand clearly what you want. What was your purpose? Yeah,
I don't know what I did wrong, so I don't know how I should have, how our team should have approached it differently.
No, well, to be honest, it's understanding what a supply chain is. Understanding at the beginning of the supply chain, then you can work down to where you are. If we began at selling just, and the point here was looking up the supply chain to understand what the source is. It's a broken system. If you can't fix the system, then you can't go into creating recycled jewelry. So you begin there, and then you can begin fixing the system. Otherwise, it's a non-start. So I mean, there's a social environmental impact here as well, and that's why I believe we went into this. But if you don't understand what a supply chain is, then you won't understand it.
Yeah, because I mean, I thought we did it the right way around, but now I'm very concerned that I may have been wrong. So, because they don't see themselves as two different businesses, okay? They're making different things, but they don't see themselves as different businesses. They see themselves as being in the recycling business. So they don't see themselves, irrespective of whether they're making jewelry or they're making waterproof shoes or whatever they're making, they don't see themselves as being two different industries. They see themselves as being in the recycling industry and making whatever, product is in demand out of those recycled plastics.
Okay, understand. Okay, great. Do you have some questions for the group? Okay, thanks a lot, Lana Ann. Sorry, we're a little long. Sorry for my bad understanding. All of that. So let's continue.
No, it's fine. As long as it's your bad understanding and I'm okay, then it's all right.
No, but in fact, it's an analysis of suppliers. What would be different? You compare the suppliers as a customer. But it's first step. I understand it's one first step. So, Mia, you raise your hand.
Lana, there were quite a few interesting comments in the Zoom chat. If you just want to scroll through that quickly. Everyone was having quite an interesting discussion while you were presenting, so you can quickly check there as well if you want.
So yes, at this point, there wasn't really, the customer wasn't, before we could even establish if there was a customer, because I think everyone is asking if this is for a supplier, if this is for a customer. And no, the group that said that they first needed to, before they could realistically even see who the customer was, they needed to look at the landscape and see if there is enough raw material so that they can develop a customer base. So yes, this was a top-down instead of a down-up approach.
Okay, it's a first step, but you will have, when you have clarified all of that, you will have to propose a strategic canvas based on a new business maybe you want to create, but linked to an existing business. So it can be waste, selling waste, I don't know, waste or footprint for big industries, or to reduce the footprint, or to reduce taxes. Or I think you need to find, to select, I think, you have very, very big overview and more about suppliers, but then you will have to make choice, I think, or it will be too large, too wide, in my opinion. So yeah, Ulani, yeah, it's more strategic canvas for suppliers, selection of suppliers. My understanding.
Yeah, so I think now I can go back to them and I can say to the group, you know, now that they have been able to see that, you know, that the supply chain, and they can see what would be their best option. Now they can, you know, that their raw material is suitable. Now they can decide that we can actually go into a product, and then maybe we can redo this.
Yes, yes. Maybe you can start any new project. You know, everybody can add any project and start a new white paper. Starting from the beginning, it's okay. White page. You use as much as you want this project. You can have some different views, maybe different tries on some perimeters you want to investigate, on some others. So feel free to add any project you need. Okay, thanks a lot, Lanahan. Which other groups? Maybe I see Eco Bicycles. Is Eco Bicycles here? Eco Bicycles? Ah, that's you. Come on. Yes, the floor is yours.
Okay. So I wasn't ready to present. I didn't think I would. But anyway, my project is, I guess, very similar to the last team. So my idea is to create bicycles from waste plastics. So my customers are bio-friendly supporters. So people who go and buy anything that is environmentally friendly. And then it's also bicycle users for professional teams or individuals, or just for fitness or transport. Yeah. So my key elements is environmental effect, price, and if the material is strong, and the specs of the bicycles. And then my competitors, these are the suppliers in South Africa, but there's also imports that I did not include. So yeah. So I looked at, the blue one is mine. I edited it. In terms of environmental effect, because most bicycles are made of the same thing, steel and carbon fiber. So I put them all as medium, and then I put myself as having mine as high, because it's made from waste plastic, so it's reducing environmental waste plastic, then the price, because of the raw materials that we'll be using, the price will be lower because it's waste plastic. It's cheaper than steel carbon fiber. And then the other ones I Googled, and the price is very high. The one that I don't include, which is bicycles that are imported from China, the price is relatively cheaper in some shops. So I would put it as medium B. And then strong material. All of them are relatively strong, and they have really good specs depending on the price. So yeah. So and then I concluded with the price and environmental effect. That like I said, the product uses waste plastic, so it's more environmentally friendly. That's it. Thanks.
What was your last word? Sorry, it was frozen. The audio was frozen.
Sorry. Where I concluded with the price and environmental effect, that because the bicycles are made cheaper, they would be cheaper, and they would also have a higher environmental effect because they reduce waste plastic from the environment.
Okay. So, any comments or compliments from your group? Or any comments from the other participants?
Yeah, I actually thought that we probably doing in the same industry, because I think they're using clothing materials to make other things, and I'm using plastic to make bicycles. So I thought we're probably in a similar team.
Compared to Lanaan, you mean?
Yes, I'm commenting on Mia's comment.
On Mia's. No, in fact, it's very key to make a difference between feasibility, the mean, and the business. You can use the same, maybe recycling, collection of waste, but you can be in a very different industries. Here we are on the bicycle manufacturing. It's very different, for instance, like compared to G-Wells, or I don't know, like we said about sport shoes. The industry is the key. For instance, that's why we said as a conclusion to Lanaan, maybe the group will have to select, to be more clear about the industry. Is it G-Well? Is it waste collection or footprint reduction for big companies? So because it's all about which values, which market potential we will get at the end of the day. And it's it's very basic. A startup project to investors, you sell a potential to address a market. And if this market is new and you are the first to enter and it's big and you can prove it, they will give you investment. But you have to be very clear about that. It's not about how you do it, it's about what you will get. So here, in my opinion, it's the strategic canvas is very powerful. It's because you directly talk about an industry, about what is proposed in this industry, which value is proposed, and what you can do to change the rules and get a piece of cake and maybe create your own cake. So, but you need to be and here this example is very clear and very good, because it shows, okay, we want to enter the bicycle industry, manufacturing, we want to sell bicycles, but we have this first idea to have eco bicycles, to sell bicycles with a good footprint on the environment. So that's the first good approach. But as we can see, maybe I will comment a little later. Do we have comments from other participants, and also Jason, George, want to react?
Which sector did Hamo choose?
Bicycle manufacturing, yeah.
Right in the beginning, right at the top, which
Industry.
sector?
Yeah, bicycle manufacturing.
Oh, okay, thank you.
It's the same, huh? Yeah. We have the strategic Canva, you have the name here, the industry name copied.
Oh, thank you, got it.
George, Jason, you want to react here?
No.
So firstly, some tip. So price is always set the first. I move it, but the price will be always at the first on the strategic Canva. Okay. And here it's good. Maybe you choose different colors because for each offering you took all the same colors. So it's yes, we see they are all the same. These classical bicycles, they propose the same values. I think you need maybe to think again a little more to have more key elements. Just take the place of a customer. Here you have listed bicycle fans, sport teams. When they buy a bicycle, I think they don't only look on these 4 elements. They have certainly other criteria. So I think you will have maybe 6, 7 at least criteria, key elements. Yeah, it's too. Yeah. It's a first try. It's a first draft, and it's already good. As you can see here, it's not. If you want, to answer these questions, we have because the conclusions are the answer of this question: is it a red or a blue ocean? But for now, even your first ID, eco bicycles, we see it's clearly not a blue ocean because I think price cannot be 0. You put price 0, you have to sell to a price. Maybe you said it's very low, so it's something like that. So it has. We see that there are no created or no eliminated elements. So eco bicycles basically cannot be a blue ocean offering. You see, it's better. It's just improvement, and maybe lower price, and improvement on the environmental footprint you can have with your product you buy at the shop. But it just a little. It's just more. It's all about more. When it's all about more, it's just different. It's just simple differentiation. It's not. It's not radical change. You see, radical change. It means this. I don't know this. It would be at 0. Maybe this. It could be 0, and this would be. And because there is no elimination and no creation. Yeah, on your eco bicycle curve. You get my point, Camo?
Yes. Thank you.
So it means it's good. It means there is a potential, and that's why you are here, and you can find these elements you can eliminate, and these other elements you have to create. You have to propose as unique on the industry, on the bicycle industry. And this all the process we will follow will support you in that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Clear. Thank you. I'll work on it.
You're welcome. So maybe we can continue. Thanks a lot, Camo, and all the team for Eco Bicycle. Then which team do we have now? Was not yet presented. I see Deco Africa or Agricultural Services and Technologies. I see.
Yeah, we can go over.
To Meleng, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's go.
So we identified our industry parameter as environmental services and technologies, specifically focusing on the agricultural genomics and consultation market. And we identified current customer in the industry as farmers, farming communities, and agricultural research councils, different government agencies like forestry government, like forestry or agriculture. And we identify these as our potential and current clients that we can use for our business. So when we were creating our canvas, I focused mainly on using our company and comparing it with the current competitors. So we chose sort of 6 key elements that set us apart that we think are important. One is the price of the service, and second is the quality of the service. And we define that as how easy it is for the farmer to understand what is provided and what is the service included exactly. And we said the credibility and expertise that is of the team that is providing the service to the farmer are the people that are consulting with the farmer. Do they have the necessary background and knowledge and know-how on how the system works? And we said the turnaround time, we identify that as a very important key element in agriculture, where sometimes farmers might have an incident with pathogens or disease, and they might need a quick turnaround, and so they can implement different agricultural practices or change the management strategy. And the 5th one we said it was autonomy in production, where we're thinking about how in farmers there is sort of this reliance to these big corporations that offer pesticide and harmful artificial fertilizers. So, and a lot of the times we find that farmers are reliant on these companies to increase yield, to promote yield, because at the end of the day, the margins that they make on their crops are quite low. And so we thought this was an important key element, as a lot of the farmers want to have autonomy on how they produce their goods and not be so reliant on these big companies that sell them these packages where they sell the seed that is directly linked to the fertilizer that comes with it. And the last key element that we identified was sustainability, because we wanted to, the market we're targeting is that farmers that are willing to transition into more sustainable agricultural practices that are not so reliant on harmful chemicals. So we identified this as a very important key element in our business model and the current industry. So in South Africa currently, there's sort of 3 main genomics and agricultural consulting companies. It's us, the Gensec, the Blue, and then we have Untitled Biotech, and then we have Thermo Fisher and BGI, which is in China. So a lot of these 3 companies, they offer genomic services, and in South Africa specifically, a lot of the farmers and these academic institutions and research councils, they would send their samples either to China or Thermo Fisher in the US for analysis, and then they would then provide the service here in South Africa, whereas Inqaba is based in South Africa, but we found that there were differences in how they offer their services compared to what we were willing to offer. So when you look at the strategic canvas that we came up with, so we identified that in South Africa, because there aren't that many players in the genomics market and agricultural consultation, specifically in this space in big data, Untitled Biotech seems to have a big monopoly. So the prices are quite high relative to even other international players like BGI and even Thermo Fisher. So we started plotting it from that end. And in terms of quality of service, because from the perspective of the farmer, a lot of these companies don't really have direct interaction with farmers. They merely act as either distributors or intermediaries, or they're working to perpetuate the same system where they create these harmful pesticides and these harmful artificial fertilizers that farmers end up relying on, because we realize that the ethos of the company is to transition farmers from these harmful agricultural practices to more sustainable and creation of better products and good, better quality. And so moving on to the next key element, we identified that the credibility and expertise that across all different competitors, a lot of them do have level of expertise, and especially when it comes to the level of work and dealing with genomic data and consultation with farmers, you do need some level of expertise as to how the land is, and how you can provide a different kind of service and what recommendations you can come with. So we put ours as pretty low because the company is still starting up, and we're not able to provide a full integrated service to the farmer, where we can't provide the end product as yet. And when it comes to turnaround time, we identified that we were ourselves and one other competitor in Thermo Fisher. They seem to have a quick turnaround, and which was important to the farmer, because for a lot of them, they wanted to know right now what can they change, what is happening on their farm and on their land. And then the biggest one, the last two that were most important, we realized that in autonomy in production, a lot of these companies don't provide sort of a relief from the farmer, because they either produce the chemicals that the farmer would need to continue with these unsustainable practices in agriculture, or they are just distributors of the product themselves and not necessarily the producers. So from the point of view of the farmer, there is no benefit for them, because these companies are just continuing with the cycle where the farmer needs to buy the fertilizer and the seed from the company in order to maintain the same yield. The consequence of that is that over time, it leads to degradation of the land, and then they need to buy more fertilizer next year and more pesticide. So it's sort of this negative feedback, that cycle for the farmer. And then that sort of leads to how we got to the last point of sustainability, where what we're offering is a solution where farmers can transition from these harmful agricultural practices to more sustainable practices, where they have autonomy on what happens on their land, and they can produce foods and crops in a much more sustainable way that's not harmful to the environment, and it can sustain growth. And as we came to the conclusions, I didn't know that we had to put them one by one. I just put all of them in one bullet point. But answering the question, is the industry parameter red ocean, and we identified it as yes. There's a lot of players and offering all similar services and products. That is the fertilizer and the pesticides. And the second one, what are the standard offerings? We said it was, these GMO seeds, which come quite often with prescribed artificial fertilizers and pesticides that have been manufactured by the company, and they sell these to the farmer. So you can't buy one without the other. But we said we identified this as a company, we identified this as a point where we could intervene and innovate. And we said there's a potential to be different. So what we currently offer is a consultation service to farmers who want to transition from conventional agriculture to more alternative farming practices like organic farming. So, and the second point is that we said we assist them with transitioning by providing biomonitoring of their crops and of their soil, to constantly report to them what is happening in the soil condition, the quality of the soil, and if there's any contamination, whether in the groundwater or in the land, and from the practice that they're using. And lastly, we said we want to provide, ultimately, we want to provide a product to the customer that will mitigate these effects by offering like bioinoculants or biofertilizers that are able to promote sustainability and not so harmful to the environment and to the soil that the farmers are using. Improve soil health and productivity. And lastly, I said we wanted to provide a more integrated pest management that helps the farmers maintain sustainability of the land and not degrade the land, where next harvest season or next sowing season, they have to rely so much on pesticide and and artificial fertilizers. So the ethos of the company is to help farmers that are currently using conventional farming practices who want to transition to organic farming, because we identified that that's a bigger market and they can sell the product at a much higher price compared to conventional farming. And we identified that it could be from large-scale farmers to mid-sized farmers to even, as we were discussing, that even in urban landscapes where we're talking about urban farming on rooftops, these practices can be implemented at much smaller scale, and they can be scaled up to large farmers, because then by integrating this biomonitoring and using that into, combining with AI and our in-house statistics and big data machinery, we are able to build predictive models on how the land is responding, and we're able to provide a much more comprehensive service compared to our competitors that just provide I think what someone in our group said it best, that they're just treating the symptom, whereas what we are doing, we're trying to treat the cure, which is these non-sustainable agricultural practices. And that's our story. Thank you.
If I understand right, your current project is this one, GenSec Analytics? Yeah.
The blue one, yes.
The blue one, yeah. Some comments and reactions of the group?
For me, it's interesting to see the difference when it's your product, your business, and you have the outputs that the customer gets, which is really good. But you also have the understanding what the inputs are, and that's incredibly important too as you move ahead. Because if you just put the outputs without really understanding the inputs, which often happens, there's a disconnect when you start reconstructing your strategy, because we want to look at cost, pain points, where are you just doing a legacy input, and things of that nature. So I thought it was a good balance between those two. The only one would be is credibility. Do you have credibility because of how you market your service? Usually credibility comes from either quality over time or marketing, and so I'm just trying to understand how did you create that credibility?
So I think, Jason, that was a good point. That's something that we also discussed it a little bit. So I think the one aspect was the level of expertise, and the other aspect, you're quite correct mentioning that credibility is something that we thought, because our company is still at the very early stages, we predict that over time, as we incorporate more and we build more a network of farmers that have transitioned, it will be easy for us to increase our credibility. But we're looking at it currently at the state that we're not at the point where we have a big network of farmers that we've incorporated into the company that are able to provide like word of mouth as it is with farmers. But also we looking at it across board. In this instance, we said credibility in the light of sustainable agriculture. So the other companies that have been around in the market for quite a while, because nothing has changed since the beginning. So that's how we sort of came to credibility. But the expertise aspect of it was actually the technical expertise. Do people have the technical know-how to analyze DNA? Do people have the expertise to analyze soil parameters and to make predictions on what would be the best management strategy that the farmer ought to employ on their farm? So that's how we came across with those two parameters.
I see. That makes sense from yes, sustainability and expertise level. Okay, cool. Thanks.
The reactions, questions?
Rani has a question.
Yes. I just wanted to ask: is it an environmental consultancy, or is it in the business of verifying the quality of environmental services provided?
Thanks, Lani. It's at the current stage, and it's something someone asked also as we were coming up to the conclusion, that at the moment, what we are providing is a consultation service to farmers who are willing or who are wanting to transition from conventional agriculture to organic farming. So in this instance, a lot of the cases where farmers just transition, it's not a matter of just stop using pesticide or stop using inorganic fertilizers, because then there will be a drop in yield and things like that. So what we're providing is sort of a full house service where we start with the farmer from sow to harvest. So we're able to provide like biomonitoring. We take samples every month, every week, and we're able to incorporate that data into our existing framework and say that, okay, this is what's happening in your farm last month. So by the next sowing season, we're able to provide a much more comprehensive advice and consultation. But ultimately, the goal is in a few years, once we have a network of farmers that we've incorporated into our database, we're able to, because every farm is different, every land is different. So we're able to incorporate farmers that we've worked with. And then the ultimate goal is then to produce this product, which are the bioinoculants and biopesticide that the farmers can then use. And once we've transitioned them away from pesticide and inorganic fertilizers, to use this product that we will be creating in a few years.
Oh, I see. So it's consultancy now, and then it's transitioning into a production company that actually assists with the consultancy.
Exactly. So it's you know, two sides of the same coin in this instance, where because we identified that a lot of the products that exist currently in the market, I mean, there's only one company I think in South Africa that provides biopesticide, and we identified that the issue with it is it's applying this generic solution to problems that you might not have on your farm. So it doesn't really solve the problems that the individual farmer and customer will have. Whereas what we're providing is that we are treating each customer and we are customizing the service and the product to that customer's need. Instead of saying that, you know, apply this chemical and then you'll be okay. So we're able to customize each farmer and supply and meet their needs and wants as when things change, because we incorporate them into the network.
Ulani has a question. Ulani, okay. It's okay. Sorry. Yeah, it's very interesting, very good. I think some insight like this, some reaction. I think you should be more clear about your industry perimeter, because services, technologies, it's too wide. I think you are clearly in the pesticide, fertilizer. Yeah, it's more about that. So fertilizer. Yeah. So this is fertilizer industry. It's very clear. I think sustainability, it should be more detailed. And certainly, when you answer to Jason's question, you said a lot, and certainly you have other elements in this sustainability. You can split them, I think, and you have certainly 2 or 3 maybe included in that. It should be more detailed because it's your key strategic point of differentiation. And certainly you will see that it's maybe not so clear compared to competition. And also, I would add here another offering. It's like the do-it-myself. I know farmers, they can use their own solutions to fertilize with a bio solution, you know, and it's very used. They recycle what they get from the animals. So yeah, this solution, yeah, it should be, yeah, I think, with no, do it myself. The farmer do it yourself in the products, and you will see, I'm sure your solution, it's not so blue. There is a potential to be blue, but if you complete here, you split sustainability, you add the do it yourself, you will see that maybe it's not, there is a potential to be even more different, in my opinion. You will see. Will tell us in 2 days. Okay. Do we have other questions, reactions for the group? Yeah. Okay. So let's continue with the group Opla from Morocco, from the H7. So Opla Smart City here. Yeah. So H7.
Hello.
Floor is yours. Yeah.
Yes.
Hello.
Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
You can share your video if you want. Huh?
Yes.
You have the connection. Floor is yours.
Yes. So Hopla is a ride-sharing electric scooter operator, and we are targeting all urban citizens and tourists. Here are some key elements about urban mobility that could help us to understand our model. So there is one issue is pollution of thermic vehicles. All mobilities in large cities or common cities have a problem with the traffic jam.
Aziz, the sound is very bad. Can you maybe... Tu peux te rapprocher du micro?
Yes.
Ou... Ouais? Okay.
So we have another problem that are for in large cities that is the traffic jam. Also, we have a veritable issue. It is the vehicle parking. Also, for some citizens that doesn't have vehicles, they can have a lot of stress in transportation because they didn't find the adequate transportation for their mobility, and also it's not quick. It could be not quick enough from some rides. Also, we can have a price. It could be an element. And also, I thought about tiring transportations because there is a lot of pedestrian that make a longer walking traject to go to their home or jobs. And also, in comparison with the cycling solution, it could be a solution for every day, but for the tiring issue, it could not be always solution. So for the markets, there is, as I said, some types of offering. Like the first one is the pedestrian. The second one is Hopla. What makes so electric scooters ride sharing. The other one is the own vehicle. It could be thermic vehicle. It's the majority of the park right now. We have also a lot of electric two-wheel vehicles, like motorcycle, and we have also the taxis and all public transportations. So in comparison, we can see that pedestrian, there is not a lot of problem in pollution, traffic jam, vehicle transportation, vehicle parking, but could and also not a problem of pricing, but it could be a problem in stress, in fun for the mobility, and it's not too quick solution, and also it's too tiring solution. For the own vehicles, so we can see that the price could be very high, and also all the issues of own vehicles, like pollution, traffic jam, parking issue. It's not too fun. It could be fun sometimes, but not too much. And also it could be quick, but not in the city or large cities with our traffic jam. And for two-wheel thermic vehicle, it presents the same problem of pollution, not too much about traffic and vehicle parking. It could be a little bit fun, a little bit more quick for urban mobilities, but could be not too secure, a little bit stressing, and also for price it could be not a high cost price, but it could be a solution, intermediate solution. For taxis and public transport stations in majority of large cities, we must bascule between a lot of type of public transportations or taxis. But even with taxis, we have the same problem of pollution and traffic jam. A little bit not too much problem in vehicle parking. It could be good solution for some rights. It could be very stressful solution because we must change between a lot of type of urban transportation, and also in the waiting times, which could be not funny solution, and could be a little bit quick, but not too much. So the Hopla solution, we are basing our business model about a new solution that we called Happy Mobility. So Happy Mobility is to have a funny mobility in our cities and to be to get happy in our rides. There is not too much operators in electric vehicle or electric scooters or ride-sharing operator. So we can tell that it could be a blue ocean market, but not too much, because if we did the ride-sharing solution as it is like in large cities and large operators like Lime Birds and others, the problem is to have an account, bank account or a card. So it could be just a solution for just high revenue citizen. So the solution of Happy Mobility, we based this with our like wallet that you can charge in all our partners. You can charge it by cash, so you can charge the wallet and you can use it for some rides. And also all our scooters are docking scooters, so we have a docking solution. That's to have little bit less effort in operation. So we can switch from red to blue to enlarge our segment of customer by this type of solution, and to try to switch from red, because we could just target some segments to a blue ocean in targeting larger and also not just the high revenue citizen or people. If you have a question.
Where is your offering? Apply, you said it's the green line? Or no, not understand.
Yeah, yes, offline, it's the green line, electric scooter ride sharing.
In France, we have a City Scoot, which had been launched 10 years ago, I think. And 10 years ago, they were. We wanted them to win a Blue Ocean Award, because at this time it was in France clearly a Blue Ocean. For now, in Morocco, I don't know, maybe, but worldwide, it's not the Blue Ocean anymore because it has been so much copied.
Exactly. that's why I said that it is a red ocean, even for electric fracturing. But we are targeting other type of citizens, not just the bankable people. Like here, they are not confident with cards, with using some cards for ride sharing. So we are targeting with two type of models, so ride sharing and also subscription, monthly subscription.
So it should appear here in your key elements, because it's very important for the client, to the customer, to know who he will pay, all these wallet things you were mentioning.
Yes, because there is not here, we cannot present the business model. I don't know how we can present more specific things about the business model of our offering.
Okay, I think you should try to draw your curve for your current offering. Yeah, here, you know, I think pollution, traffic jam, vehicle parking issue. I think you made the opposite. Each key element, it's important for all the participants. Each key element, it has to be, they have to be, you have to make a choice. Is it a presentation of positive or negative? You see, here you mix
with our solution. Yes, it's
not a solution in general. When you, because pollution, you said okay, if the pollution is low, the point will be low. But in fact, you need to make a choice, because it's not really understandable on the strategic canvas if you have some elements which are ranked positive and other negative. You understand? So traffic jam, pollution, vehicle parking issue, it's more negative points. So
yes,
but maybe you could say a safe. Okay, low traffic or fluidity.
Yes.
Because the other element, fun mobility, for instance, it's a positive one. So you should make a choice. Or you use only negative or only positive.
Okay.
It's not easy to read. So do we have questions for the group here? Or reactions? Yeah.
I will change that.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I'm not clear about why between two-wheel thermic vehicle it's the same as electric scooter for traffic jam. You are on the same road. No? Parking, I understand there are some dogs.
Yes, even with some type of two-wheel, like motorcycles. In comparison with the electric scooter, we have not a lot of traffic jam. We can pass, and we can also use some pedestrian ways.
Yeah, but it's the same as a two-wheel thermic vehicle. I don't know. And
no,
why
it's not
zero.
For
electric, it cannot be zero. It's
yes.
Like this.
Yes.
Not zero.
Yes.
It's something very close to two-wheel. And pollution, okay, it's zero. Okay, and here we see. And quick urban micro mobility. What do you mean by that, quick urban micro?
For our rides, how quick our of the.
We lost you. On t'entend plus.
If I can just add something, I think that regarding the electric scooters, the traffic jam can be lower because lower than two wheels, because the electric scooters can go on some
special ways.
On special ways, yes, on special ways.
but not so much. It's a little lower maybe because they have
Not
some,
that much? Okay, I understood your point.
Okay. It's not zero, for sure, it's not zero. And quick urban micro-mobility, what is
it could be because the speed of electric scooter is just 25 kilometers per hour.
Okay.
Motorcycle.
The speed, you can name it the speed.
Yes.
Okay, it will be more, I think, understandable to name it the speed of the vehicle.
Exactly.
Okay, so they go faster than a two-wheel, like a big
not faster.
It's a different. Okay,
I will change with positive,
understand.
negative.
Okay. So
sometimes there is a positive, sometimes negative.
And compared to pedestrian, okay. Okay, so we see difference here. Price also is a different. Higher is the price. Higher.
No, it's a problem.
It's zero.
It should
be zero. It's free to to walk in the street for now. Okay. And on vehicle, you mean a car? It's for any. It's a car here, no?
Yes.
It's a thermic car.
Yes.
Because it can be electric car, it can be your own scooter. It can be. Maybe you should precise it on vehicle. Which kind of can be different. Taxis. Taxis and public transportation. I'm not sure you can. Okay, I don't know if you can.
Here in Casablanca and Morocco, it's
the same.
It's like the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Even if we can have like Karim or Uber, that is quite different. But taxis, it's like public transportation.
Okay, got it. Okay, so okay, we see here, for instance, so Jason and George, you have some reactions here?
No, not at the moment for me.
George, you have some reactions? I don't know if you are here. So basically we see here electric, thermic, and public transport, which are the current services, because pedestrian is free, so it's not really a business. And on vehicle, it's quite another, it's not really transportation, it's another business, it's car manufacturing, it's another industry, it's to buy a car. It's not public transportation, or it's not transportation. If you just focus here on the offering from your industry, we see it's mostly segmentation. The more you pay, the more you have. You see, except on the parking issue. Parking issue is something, it seems something interesting point, because some of them are zero, and in the exploration, it can be something to focus on. And certainly pollution also. Your solution is zero in pollution. It's interesting. It's because it's electric. But yeah, we see it's mostly segmented, except vehicle parking issue. So it's mostly a red ocean. And your solution, it's as I said, it could have been blue ocean 10 years ago, but now, because in this green, if you could give some details of this green curve, and you will see a lot of competitors you were mentioning, and it's a red ocean. Only this curve is a red ocean.
We can explain more. I think in other canvas we can explain more how it.
I think it will be very. Now you have the big picture. You can maybe go more in details and draw all the competitors and your solution in this electric ride sharing.
Base it with the docking So docking.
With docking, without docking, with
docking station.
With motor engine, not motor engine, something.
Exactly.
With the wallet things, you can also add these elements about the wallet, the payment,
and subscription business model,
and make a focus on that. You can keep it, and you can create a new project. And if you want to keep this, and I didn't share with the group with the people, but you see here you can print and download the strategic Canva as an image, as a PDF and everything. Okay, to keep it. You can draw different. Okay. Okay, thanks a lot, Aziz and the group. So next group, maybe the last one, I think, for today. Yeah, it's mostly. Do we have a last group want to share? Yeah. I think we're almost. We are WIBC. I don't know. Want to share? No. Okay, so let's conclude maybe here because it's time. No. So for next step, it's next workshop. It's in 2 days on the 26th. We have here 26. You will be able to present your final first version of the Aziz strategic Canva. Okay, with all the reactions, comments we shared with you. It can help you to make it more precise, more focused, more and with maybe a more detailed analysis for the next session. Coaches will have coaches session tomorrow with a coach, so we will be able to debrief this session and to prepare the session of the 26th. So tomorrow with the coaches, you already have the invite in your email. So we start South African time at 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And also for everybody on the 26th, the same hour as today. So we start South African time at 9 and we finish at 6. With the same structure, with workshop in the afternoon. For the 26th, you have to finalize your strategic Canva. It's your homework in 2 days to have in 2 days. Okay. So thanks a lot, everybody. Medals and cookies all around. Exactly. Jason, George, you have some compliments?
Congratulations on your first day.
For this first starting session. It's a good start. So thanks, everybody, and see you, coaches, tomorrow, and entrepreneurs in 2 days.
Thank you very much, everyone. Go safely.
And we share with you the content we have, and also the YouTube links.